happens. But was Zelda your biggest flop, or what was your biggest flop?
I want to know this person's biggest flop. I want to go
I
off,
have a
King.
couple. I have a few though, so I'm not.
Well,
go for the one that
I
really
couldn't say
grins.
one. I couldn't say one because they're all equally bullshit.
Give your honorable mentions.
Number one. Starfield is number one biggest flop. I shouldn't even have to talk about why Starfield is the biggest flop. We've talked about it a billion times.
Yeah.
Starfield, as if you pick apart each individual aspect of the game, you could probably make a good game, right? But the way they brought it together was terrible. Like, I'm not trying to fucking play a sci-fi fucking fast travel menu simulator in 2023 when we have games like Mass Effect, fucking we got RPGs like Star Ocean, we got fucking all these other types of games that I could just go get my sci-fi RPG fix from. And it really pains me to talk about that game because I feel like I'm just shitting on it, but I am just shitting on it because the game fucking sucks. I don't care what anybody says. That game sucks. It's not a, you know how you can say a game sucks, but it's not a bad game. It's just, why didn't you do more? Why didn't you do what you can't look at like No Man's Sky, the current state No Man's Sky is in, and say Starfield is great. And I don't even like No Man's Sky like that, right? But I could appreciate what it did as opposed to what Starfield does, right? But I don't want to shit on Starfield. They're all fucking.
I mean, we do have a biggest disappointment category, which is separate.
Yeah. Oh, that probably counts more as a disappointment than a flop because I couldn't even finish Starfield, so I'm not even gonna call it a flop. I played it and I couldn't tolerate it anymore.
Yeah.
Biggest flop. This is disappointment and flop. Wild Hearts was my biggest disappointment of this fucking year, mainly because I'm a huge Monster Hunter fan. That game looked phenomenal. They had a crazy ass chance to compete with Monster Hunter because everybody was talking about that game. Every Monster Hunter fan was talking about that game, right? But just like every other Monster Hunter clone, you got to look at it with bated breath, right? You got to be like, it looks great, but it's not Capcom, it's not Monster Hunter, right? So there's always that. It's crazy how someone can make, like a company can make a game like Monster Hunter, Capcom makes Monster Hunter, right? And that makes everyone like suspicious of anyone else that tries to make a game in that genre, right? It's like, damn, that looks like Monster Hunter. It's probably gonna suck. It looks like a Monster Hunter clone. It's probably gonna be trash. And for some reason, every time they make a Monster Hunter clone, it's always trash. So it's like, this was the coolest fucking example. This was the coolest looking game, right? The mechanics look cool. The monsters and shit look cool. The way they were marketing the game, like the videos that were coming out were cool. They were showing off all the weapons, all that crazy shit. And then as they're showing off all these cool weapons and cool monsters, the graphics look nice or whatever, they forgot to make a functioning fucking game. So we get the game and the game don't fucking work. Like, the game runs like ass on PC. I'm sure it runs like ass on console. Like, to the point where when like casual players are saying this game runs like ass, so you know something's wrong with it. Like, because a lot of people just don't care. I'm not one of those people that don't care. If the game runs like shit, especially an action game that relies on like, timing your dodges, doing all this shit. If it runs like trash, like I can't. The game, and then they go completely silent on it, and they say they're not updating it anymore. What the fuck? It hasn't even been a year since that game came out.
I don't think you could do that in this day and age.
Wait,
they're already writing it off.
They didn't even fix the game?
No, they didn't fix the game.
No patches, no nothing, right?
I would have absolutely been playing that shit. And it was so disappointing because I was like, we're not gonna have a Monster Hunter. This was the fucking year. This was the 1 year, right? Right before they announced the new Monster Hunter game, where a new competitor could have actually came up and be like, okay, we're competing with Monster Hunter now. This is a new franchise that's competing with Monster Hunter. So then maybe if the game was phenomenal, it would make Capcom look at some of the things that this game did, right? And start like taking inspiration. Like, the thing about Capcom and Monster Hunter is that they already do a good job of pushing the series forward. But I feel like if they had a competitor in that genre, it would be even better. You know what I mean? But we're back to square one. It's just Monster Hunter. That's it. Like, because that game literally died, and they said they're not supporting it anymore. What the fuck is that? Typical EA bullshit. Like,
and it's crazy because that game looked like it had a ton of potential. Enough
it had hella content in the game. The end game I heard was kind of okay. I don't know, but I don't know, for a game like that. First of all, you're competing with the Juggernaut, bro. It's not like Monster Hunter is a fucking niche game anymore. It's a different Monster Hunter you're competing with now, guys. So I don't know what you guys were thinking with that bullshit, but if you ever try to make a new one, actually, they probably not, because that shit flop.
No, they probably won't, because it's just like, if they're not even going to fight for their game now, because it could possibly be a good game. The thing is, people just can't play it.
And the thing is, right, if the game is great, but I consider it unplayable, right? And the fact that you say you're not gonna update this shit anymore is ridiculous to me, because games like that live on, right? Games like that have longevity. Monster Hunter, people, bro, there's like, what did they say? There's like 100,000 people playing Monster Hunter World on Steam now. Like, just
That's
after
crazy.
that Monster Hunter announcement, there's hella motherfuckers playing that shit on Steam now. Those games have legs. So why would you just abandon it? Like, if you fix the game and added shit to the game, people would play it. But whatever, man. I'll never understand like EA and their mindset. If it doesn't succeed like the first month, it's a flop. Boom, we're cutting it off. Like, I'm actually curious, because it's on Game Pass. I'm actually curious. I'm gonna download it again right now, and I'm gonna see how bad this shit still is. But yeah, that's one of my flops. Other flop, my last one, Payday 3. Only because we were excited as hell for the game, because we had just played Payday 2, right? We were playing Payday 2. We were like, wait, this is actually godlike. Payday 3 was like, what, a few weeks away?
We played the beta, not Payday 2. We were playing the beta.
Oh, yeah. You're right. We played the beta. You're right. We played the beta. And that was like, what, a month before? 2 weeks before, or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we were riding off the hype from the beta, right? It was fun. And then the game comes out, and it don't work. And we can't play it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go back to this shit, because I'm the kind of person, I'm not the biggest multiplayer guy, right? I'm not the biggest, like, let me not say multiplayer. I'm not the biggest co-op game guy. So when a co-op game does get me and it comes out and I'm disappointed at launch, I'm probably not gonna care about it again later. Maybe a few years down the line, but if I'm not captured during the initial like hype phase for a co-op game, I'm not gonna play it. And they fucked it up. I'm sure it works now, but the thing is, I haven't heard a damn thing about this game since launch. So yeah. I don't know if it's any better.
I think when you launch a game, you have a certain window where it's like, if you want to grab those players, you need to release,
especially new players,
really good condition. Yeah, especially
because Payday 2, Payday has like that I guess that cult following or whatever. So I'm sure those people love it, but.
Yeah, but the thing is, they had a beta for specifically this reason. If the game wasn't working, why the fuck would you release it?
And you know what's weird to me?
Fix your game.
Payday 3 strikes me. Oh my gosh, yo! I just typed in Payday 3. Recent reviews on Steam mostly negative. All reviews mixed. Jeez. So it hasn't even gotten any better.
I've actually heard more about this game post-release. So besides them fixing, because the initial thing was the servers, which I feel like we felt was going to be an issue during the beta, because even during the beta we were having some like issues. Invite and link up issues, right? But we played, yes. But from what I'm hearing from the Payday community is that this game definitely feels like a step down from the previous game as far as like what's offered in content and stuff like that. So I think that's why the reviews are negative. So it definitely would qualify the game as a flop.
They released paid DLC before fixing the game.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, qualifies as a flop for sure.
That shit was absolutely honorable mentions are Exo Primal and Forspoken, by the way, but I'm not going to go into those.
Oh, same issue though. With those, right?
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Well, Forspoken a little different, but that could also qualify as biggest disappointment.
I mean, Exo Primal just a lot of, I guess it's weird. I have the same problem with all these games, is that they launched, you can see the potential in them, right? And it's one of those games where you think, okay, it launched in a bad state. Maybe in a couple of months or a year from now, it'll be phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
But then you hear that the devs aren't gonna fucking support the game anymore. So it's like, what the fuck? Hello? How many games have come out? Think about Cyberpunk, right? This is the biggest example. How many games have come out that have been quote unquote shit at launch, but then got fixed over the years and are now like amazing games?
Yeah.
come on, man. So why would you just cut a game off?
Well,
Let's just cut our losses, guys, and see ya. Move on to the next game. All right.
Yeah, my issue with Exo Primal, because the thing is, when we played the beta, we actually enjoyed ourselves with the beta. But here's the thing. The game was promising way more than it actually delivered on. And then just to find out that when you play the main game of Exo Primal, that was the game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Bro, we played the beta, right? We had hella fun on the beta. And then when the game came out and I played, I was like, wait a minute.
This is just the beta again. Yep.
That was it.
That was the game.
That was the game. Like, I expected way more. Yeah, that was the game. That was literally
I was like,
the game.
where's the gameplay modes? Where's the other options, right?
Well, I mean, there was supposed to be a whole bunch of way different variety of missions. Like, there's supposed to be an intricate story mode, but apparently, the story mode is kind of buried within just how many matches you do, and it's kind of weird and this and that, and
weird,
like,
man.
Like there's a lot of issues. Just like, well, if you weren't gonna give us that game, you should have just said that the game was this, and I wouldn't have been so mad. And we probably would have been playing it because we would be like, all right, well then it is what it is. But the thing is, if you promise people like a whole fucking shit, you know, but like I'm expecting way more, and then you deliver like none of those things, then it's like, then I'm like, man, you know, because the thing is, it needed to deliver on that, and I'll tell you why. Because every time I think, oh, they canceled the fucking Dino Crisis remake, and they canceled it for this game, right? Yeah. So every time, like that game had to deliver, and it didn't. Just based on that,
had a bad taste.
Yeah,
he already had a bad taste
in the mouth because of that. Because of that clone. Yep.
Yeah.
So that, like, but then when we played the beta, I was like, you know what, this game was fun. We had a good time and blah blah blah. But then it, promised all this stuff like, all right, man, well maybe when the game comes out, blah blah blah. But then when the game dropped, that was the game.
And that's another game. That's just, it's like radio silence. They're not saying shit about it. No updates, no nothing. Like people just put games out just to die. And it's like, and then you know what the problem is? Here's the problem with that, right? What they'll do, this is what, this is the kind of thing that used to get on my nerves years ago, where they'll put out a game, devs will put out a game, right? It might suck, it might be great, but it won't sell, right, to their expectations. And they'll just be like, okay, well, that's it. We're never doing that again because that one, you guys didn't buy that one, so we're not gonna sell it again. We're not gonna make it again. Meanwhile, you guys released bullshit. Second, you didn't market you probably didn't market the game, bro. They didn't market Exo Primal at all.
Nope.
3, they just cut it off. Like the game had potential, and you just say, all right, it's over. And then they'll have the nerve when someone asks them, man, are you gonna go back and revive or old franchises, do all this other shit, whatever. They'll have the nerve to say, well, we tried that before and it didn't do well, but yeah, whatever, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. That's always, because the main reason why I hate when people put games out to die is because they always have the same excuses later. They'll be like, you guys didn't like the last time we did this, so we're not doing it again. Well, they always say that shit.
From like, what they were posting, though, I got the impression that we were getting some sort of like PvE campaign, like there were the impressions that
the biggest complaint about that game is that literally everything was like it was PvE it was always like a PvP centric type thing. And personally, that was fun for me, but that's not all I wanted from the damn game. I thought we were gonna get some crazy co-op shit, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, the game had what I expected from that game. I mean, but that was the exciting thing about that game, right? Like, we didn't know what to expect, but I was just like, I remember playing it and I was just like, look, I'm all for this if they just continue to deliver for it. Like, I didn't hate the gameplay of Exo Primal at all. It's just, I thought the game was going to be way more. They made it seem like it was going to be way more than what it was. Had they just been like, oh yeah, it's just this, you just do this, then I would have been like, they could have done this, and this. But like, I think we would have been more pro because like you didn't over promise, right?
Yeah.
Like so, but now we're bummed out on that, and then on top of that, you have the whole Dino Crisis thing, right? Because every time we played this game, that's what we're thinking about.
You know what that shit reminded me of, bro? That shit reminded me of DMC. It kind of felt like Capcom kind of slapping us in the face a little bit. That's what it felt like. That's what, like, and y'all know I love DMC. The what was it?
the remake, the
Ninja Theory game.
Yeah, the Ninja Theory game. Yeah.
The not Devil May Cry.
DMZ.
Like,
right.
I thought that game was amazing.
As a game, it played fine,
Yeah.
but like but then it
could've
felt
led
like
with
it
something
It's
else.
just been its own thing.
It should have been something else. Yeah. But they
Yep.
were like, yeah, it's probably not going to sell if it's not attached to a main IP name or whatever, right? But it's weird because that's what that felt like. And at least that game was good. So it kind of, we had the benefit of the doubt, right? When we played that game, we were like, oh, wait a minute. This game's actually really fucking good. Hold on. We played Exo Prime and we're like, this is whatever. Like,
well, but the thing is, like,
Capcom is the king of that,
if it
though,
builds
man.
towards something, the marketing totally failed for this game.
Yeah,
It's
Capcom is
basically
the
what
king
it
of doing stuff like that. But I'm not gonna hate on them for taking risks.
I'm not
Let's-
gonna hate on them for taking the risk though. So I
Let's-
don't
yeah.
hate this game 100%.
No,
But
no, no.
but they really
That's
should
definitely one of the flops for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that this doesn't prevent us from actually getting like a Dino Crisis remake at some point.
Oh no, it did.
If it does,
It probably
it
will.
No,
No, I know it
No,
did,
it
but
did.
let's say that they don't like
Yeah, but let's
cancel
not-
plans for a
Any
future.
future, yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Because it can still happen.
That being said, for the sake of time, we're gonna move on.